I am 30 years old. In fact, I'm almost 31. And even saying that now still feels incredibly strange, because it's as if yesterday I was still making Lego animations in my spare room. Nothing much really changes. You're always gonna be you. You're not gonna suddenly wake up when you're 30 and ping, okay, now I understand everything, or at least a lot more. It just is, that's not how it works. I have no idea how I'm actually going to structure what I'm saying. It's taken me a long time to try and put my thoughts about this into words, but I'm gonna try, because I wish that I could hear myself now when I was 20 or 21 or 22 or even younger than that. I think the first thing I really want to emphasize is you do not suddenly wake up at 30 and everything's different. That's not how it works. It's not some magical milestone that just solves things for you. And I know that sounds ridiculous saying that, because obviously, right? Clearly it's not, but for a long time I had that way of thinking that you'll just have things figured out when you're 30. Things are just it's gonna make more sense. It's not. It doesn't. I think much like a lot of people who were thinking about this, I kind of thought I would have something figured out by now. Maybe not everything, but I thought I would have my own place. I thought I would have savings. I thought I would have a fairly decent career. I thought I'd be going in the right path. I thought it was a fairly linear thing. It's not. It never has been, and I don't know why I thought it suddenly would be, but I think this is a mentality that a lot of people have. I think. This could just be me. I might just be mental, and this whole video just could be a very strange series of ramblings. There are some things I do want to try and explain. I still live at home. I still don't really have a career. I don't really have much going for me. I'm still not independent, and I'm still constantly looking for something that's going to work out for me. And I'm not saying these are things that you should either be proud of or are completely fine. It's not like that. It doesn't just get solved. I think one of the main things I want to try and talk about is this, I think I've mentioned this a lot, is having this idea of where you should be. And it's different for everyone, right? Everybody is born with advantages and disadvantages. Everyone is in a completely different lane, but I know for me, my goals and achievements and whatever else have changed so much, so much in basically from when I was 18 onwards. And each time it changes, I'm certain that that's going to be the thing. But it's not. You don't have to be so black and white about it. The whole point is you want to do as much as you can while you still can. You can do that for I think, hopefully for the rest of your life, for the most part. You know, we're constantly dealing with shit. We're constantly dealing with problems. We're constantly dealing with decisions. Some people are in much worse positions, and those problems and issues are genuinely a lot more serious. But each time something does happen, whether it's good or bad, I believe it slightly shapes us into the person we want to be. And this can't just happen in your 20s. It's impossible. There's so much that needs to be done. It can't just all happen in 10 years. And I'm not saying just be lazy about it, but you don't need such a high expectation of yourself. It's funny, I'm saying all this and like my whole life I've struggled to really believe it, but I do think about it. I do think it's important. So I wasn't sure about if I'm actually gonna include this part of the video, but I do think it's relevant to what I'm trying to say. Essentially, you don't need to have it all figured out, and it's going to change a hell of a lot, and it's never going to stop changing, right? And that's not a bad thing. But I kind of want to give a rundown of what I've been lucky enough to have tried in my early age and all the way through my 20s, and all of the issues and hardships and triumphs, if you could call them that have happened along the way. Yeah, don't know how relevant it will be, but maybe some people will be interested. So I think it might be helpful going all the way back to the start and maybe pre-YouTube, because the first thing I can remember thinking, that's what I'm gonna do. This is the one. Comics. I drew all my own comics and made all my own characters, heavily based on Flash animations at the time on the internet. Newgrounds and what have you, Weeble stuff, quite a big influence. I was doing this all the time. I was drawing comics all the time, and I was sure that was going to be my thing. And this was around between the age, well, it says right there, it says 2004 on the front. And everything's trademarked. Of course everything's trademarked. I had, clear thinking back then to trademark everything just by writing TM on it. But yeah, this is around 2004, so I would have been around 9 years old. Very happy to still have this, and all my other comics as well. That was the primary thing. That was the thing that really made me think, okay, I want to do something like this. And I was dead certain that I was going to be a comic author. I guess that way of thinking doesn't really change, ever. Because very shortly after that, I created a YouTube account, and one of the first things I did on there were little Lego stop motion animations with this camera and another Samsung camera, using my family's MacBook, no, not even a MacBook, one of the plastic ones with Boink's iStop Motion. I plugged this in using a firewire, and I would do little Lego animations. That was that, and I was certain, okay, I've moved on from comics, I've moved on from drawing, I'm going to be an animator. This is when I was about 12. And I'm pretty aware at this point that having this way of thinking can be quite unusual, because knowing what you actually want to do, even when you're a kid, I know that's rare. I know that can be quite rare, and I'm fully aware that even now, my whole life, I've lived a very lucky and very privileged life to be able to try all these things. But I just want to make sure that that's clear. Like, I'm not trying to take the piss here, I'm just trying to explain how varied life can be. So yeah, from Lego animations on YouTube, I pretty quickly started picking up skill toys, and pretty much the first skill toys I really picked up started with yo-yoing. By the way, if you know what this yo-yo is, you're a baller. If you know what I'm holding right now, you're a G, because this is probably one of the most valuable things I own, and this shit ain't going nowhere. This is a Higbee 888, very special, very rare, but I was obsessed with yo-yoing. Something about the aesthetic of it, especially just the shape of the object, it was a beautiful thing to me. And even though I always sucked, and I still do suck, I felt the potential of it, and I used my knowledge of plugging in a camera using firewire to film myself yo-yoing every now and then. Oh shit, I think the hinge is just broken. Well, that was fun while that lasted. Yeah, I used my knowledge of iMovie HD at the time to try and make yo-yo videos. And then from there, it was around the same time I got into speed cubing, which is I still kind of suck. I was obsessed with it. I would do it all the time. I never thought I was going to be a professional speed cuber, but I had this idea in my head that basically anything that I really wanted to do, I could be successful at it. And I was always thinking towards the future how much I could really do. Oh, how things have changed quite significantly. But yeah, at that time in my life, I was a very confident kid, because I was trying all these things, and I really felt like that something was happening. Yeah, and then pretty swiftly after the yo-yoing and Rubik's cubing and comics came fingerboarding, which I'm sure you're all very familiar with. Not much I really need to say about that, but this was my first ever tech deck, ever. I got it in a 4-pack of Black Label tech decks. I remember coming home from school vividly and seeing the 4-pack, and this was the first one I took out and gave a go. And in around 2007 or 8, I filmed my first ever ollie on a fingerboard. It was amazing because I thought at the time, I loved documenting everything I was doing, but I remember when I was filming the fingerboarding, I thought this could be something quite cool. And at the time on YouTube, the fingerboarding world was so raw and so fun and so low resolution, but everyone was so good. It was really inspiring, and it felt like a community that I was slowly seeping into from the yo-yoing world. And that was kind of my thing for a very long time, along with aggressive rollerblading, which I mentioned in fact I mentioned a lot of this in my Rodney Mullen video, which if you haven't seen, there'll be a link somewhere, probably in the description. But aggressive inline skating This is a Rollerblade TRS Frankie Morales Pro Skate from 2004 or 5. I still skate these now. It inspired me a hell of a lot. The aesthetics of it was just very, very, very inspiring to me. But I never really filmed myself doing it. I never thought I was going to be a professional rollerblader. I was certain I was going to be comic drawer, animator, yo-yoer, and now I thought, okay, I'm going to be a filmmaker. Simple as that. So the fingerboarding really opened that entire world up for me. Filmmaking, learning software, learning cameras, learning what I thought at the time was a really useful skill that's gonna take me places, it's gonna do things for me, and I really pushed it on my YouTube account. I wasn't even thinking about it, I was just filming videos of me all the time back when I thought a nollie was impressive. But I really enjoyed it, and I was very inspired seeing what other fingerboarders were able to do. So yeah, I started to take fingerboarding a lot more seriously. You may recognise this yellow wood. This was my main setup for a flipping long time. This was the one. But from fingerboarding I learned After Effects, I learned Premiere, I learned Final Cut, I learned, the standard bits of software that would lead somebody into a filmmaking or post-production sort of thing. And I know I'm not the only person that was in that position. I think they just go hand in hand. And also, if you want to show off what you're doing, you kind of have to. You have to learn these things. But again, I was very lucky to be able to have the means in order to do that. But that was a pretty big part of growing up, was the fingerboarding. And a lot of my editing style, a lot of the inspiration came from things like Call of Duty montages, particularly Joe Handsome. Don't know if anyone remembers him. Rest in peace. He was incredible. But a lot of those old, really stylish, really colourful COD montages, it was just very inspiring to me, and it really forced me to learn how to use software. So at this point I thought, okay, you know what? Filmmaker? Maybe. But editor? 100%. That was going to be my thing. Life sorted, university sorted, 20s sorted, 30s. I'm going to be an editor, no problem. I was certain that was going to be the thing. Crazy thinking back to that now. I started to learn Cinema 4D, which is a very good piece of 3D software, which is now prohibitively expensive. I can't afford it anymore, so I haven't used it for like 7 or 8 years. But Cinema 4D was another thing that really pushed me into the film world, and YouTube channels like Film Riot, which really encourage you to learn your own stuff. That was kind of what I was sure I was going to be. Editor / visual effects or whatever. I'm going to try and keep the rest of this short because I didn't think I was going to talk so much about it. So because of that, I ended up going to university for film and TV production at Greenwich, which, by the way, if you're looking at universities in London and you want to do film, just go to Greenwich. Simple as that. It was an amazing place, an amazing course, and it really encourages you to make stuff, not just write about it, but to actually make stuff. So at university, I told myself I was going to specialise in directing and visual effects. That was going to be it. And then I really remember thinking at that point, and I think a lot of people think this when they're at university, I'm an adult now, I know what I'm doing, this is it, life sorted, no problem. If you're at like a creative thing, at least that's how I felt. Still a very cocky, arrogant guy. I wouldn't say arrogant, but I just didn't want to let anyone stop me from what I was doing. But then, and I mentioned this in my Rodney video, I met somebody online, which was a absolute catastrophic fucking disaster. It was so bad. It was like overnight I went from this fairly confident guy to this blubbering mess. And I go over this a lot more in my Rodney video, but all these insecurities and issues started to really creep in strongly, and suddenly I started really thinking about relationships. Again, not something I'm going to cover much in this video, but it was relevant, because that moment is the moment I started to learn how to play piano, which arguably for me was the most important thing I ever did. And to be honest, if it wasn't for that whole situation, I would have probably never tried to learn. End of my first year of university, that's when piano came in. But at that point I was not sure I was going to be a pianist or try and make music. I was certain I was going to be a filmmaker still. So, ironically, this was also all happening from when I was 19 turning 20. Isn't that fantastic? Isn't that cinematic? So it really just changed the way I thought about myself and I thought about what was happening, and I just basically got really sad really fast, and I didn't see a way out of any of it. Everything felt very pointless very quickly, and I know this is something that a lot of people feel about what they do or about life all the time, and it truly is one of the most horrible things in the world. And I know it may not seem that I understand, but believe me, I really get it, because it fundamentally shifts your reality and who you are. You can't just snap out of it. That's impossible, because your reality is now what's happening, right? Just trying to explain that I'm not taking the piss here. I know it's a really serious thing. And it was about at that point that I realized that film people and creative people in general can be very unreliable. It wasn't necessarily my fellow classmates, and that was something that I knew was going to be a serious issue moving forward. And sure enough, I could be pretty fucking unreliable. Everyone can be. Everyone can be very lazy. I'm not saying I'm perfect. I definitely was, in some cases, quite lazy. But some people were taking the piss, and I didn't really want to be associated with that. After making friends at the Anime and Game Society, and playing a lot of Super Smash Bros. Melee, Marth main, by the way, I slowly shifted away from the filmmaking world, even though I was still in it. I still loved it. I still loved telling stories. That sounds cheesy, everyone fucking says that, but I really felt like I had a voice, and it was a lot of fun, and working collaboratively with people forced me to work with people. So that whole experience was quite eye-opening and quite special, still while dealing with these newfound terrible insecurities. So because of that, after I finished university, I decided this could have been one of my more terrible ideas. I decided to totally shift away from anything cooperative, and I pushed heavy into motion graphics. So while I was editing this video, I realized there are a couple things that I just completely forgot to talk about. So the lighting is going to be very different now. So I just want to elaborate on what I said before about one of the worst mistakes I made. It wasn't about not working with people because they're unreliable creatives. That wasn't the primary reason. I worked with a lot of people who were very reliable, fantastic at what they did, and we made some of the most beautiful things I've ever made before with these wonderful people. What I meant is that because of how insecure I became, the idea of working with someone else and asking for help, and thinking that my idea was so important that it was worth your time to help make this turn into a reality, it made me feel like I was such a burden and I was such a problem. And why do I think I have the authority to even ask that to somebody? And it just really made my world shrink even more, because I wanted to work with people less and less because I just didn't want to bother them. I just didn't want to annoy them. It wasn't just because of the unreliability, it was because I was too scared. I was too scared to work with anyone, and that kind of still is something I deal with right now. Everything I'm doing by myself because I like to do things myself, but I also don't want to risk asking anybody for help in case I annoy them or in case I piss them off or waste their time. It's a very complicated thing, but I just wanted to clear that up. And I saw all these people around me that have created these seemingly very wealthy careers by being a freelance motion graphics artist. All you gotta do is put your shit on the internet and everyone's gonna think, he's amazing, I'm gonna give him 50 grand a week. That's what I was seeing, and that's what I was experiencing, and that's kind of the image that a lot of the people I saw online at the time were giving off. And I was like, okay, right, bun that filmmaking thing, I'm going to be a freelance motion graphics artist, and the best part is I don't have to talk to anyone, I don't have to work with anyone, right? That was really I was sure that was going to be it. And sadly, even to this day, I'm still trying to do that. So a fat lot of good that was. Then university finished, and I made one short film, which was a lot of fun, and I'm still very proud of it. But then, basically, my 20s started. I think the most significant part of that time in my life was around 2017, when Breath of the Wild was released. After dealing with some incredibly unpleasant people, I will not name names, made me feel about this big, and I just took it on the chin because I thought that's what I deserved, and to an extent I still feel like this today, but Breath of the Wild came out and I started playing it, and it was incredible. It was like the perfect game for me. I love just exploring and pissing about, but with some sort of objective. But the particular part of that game that inspired me the most was the soundtrack, and particularly when you're in the Highlands and you're near a shrine, you hear this theme, which I can't play, but I heard that theme in the game, and when I did, I thought, that's incredible. That sounds unfucking believable. And I thought, I can do this. I could play this. I could record music like this. So after however long, like 3 years or 2.5 years of teaching myself to play piano and learning songs that I loved, I eventually heard this Highlands theme. And that was the moment I thought, I can do this. I can try and make music like this. I have a piano. My brother's an incredibly talented musician. I have microphones, which I still have, which he gave me, thank you very much. He could help me set it all up and I can really give this a go. So in 2018, I started recording my own music, and it was dreadful. At the time it was very exciting because I thought it really sounded like what I wanted to sound like, but even very quickly after that I realised that there's a lot more I want to get out of what I'm doing, so I just kept trying. I might play a little snippet of one of my first ever songs, in fact my first ever song that I recorded, here somewhere. But yeah, piano was the thing. The filmmaking had fallen by the wayside, the motion graphics was going nowhere, I was unemployed, but the piano really gave me some hope. And then, another very, 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 very horrible person came into my life. And this really is something I don't want to elaborate on, but it was disgusting and abusive, and it was so bad. It was really bad. And the whole time, it was lasted for 4 years, the whole time I was just certain that I was a worthless, horrible, overprivileged piece of shit. And because I was so easily swayed and I just wanted to go with the grain and not hurt anyone, I just believed it the whole time. I never fought back. I was never able to leave. And even to this day, I still struggle with upsetting people. It's a really bad habit I've got into, but I don't want to say she ruined my life, but it was bad. I didn't think I was going to make it out of it. And if you want to hear more about it, maybe not specifically, but I feel like it's something that I mentioned on Instagram in an interview once, but I do think it's probably the worst thing anybody could ever deal with. Maybe I'll share my perspective. That lasted for 4 years, and in those 4 years, I did basically nothing except I released my first ever EP and album of all my music. Some of the tracks on those albums I still love, I still play, I still listen to all the time. Most of them though, pretty rough around the edges. But it was the start of something. Learning how to use Spotify, learning how to use DistroKid, learning how to record and mix music, even just 2 piano tracks left and right. It was the start of something, and I felt like it was a really important part of me. This whole section I was expecting it to be about 2 or 3 minutes, but the more I talk, the more I realise how important it actually is to the point I'm trying to make. So I released the EP and the album, and it was very exciting, but even then I still felt like, and to some extent I wasn't wrong, my life was just going nowhere. And this was in the prime of my life. Fuck. And you know what happens in the prime of your life? Allegedly, your frontal lobe fully develops when you're 25. So that might be true, but from personal experience, I didn't feel a difference. Nothing happened. I didn't suddenly grow a new piece of brain and boom, I know what to do. It doesn't just happen. I'm not saying, oh, life sucks, nothing matters, frontal lobe doesn't matter, just give up, right? That's not what I'm trying to say. It doesn't just happen. You don't just get a frontal lobe and everything's fine. It's something you're constantly building towards in your life. And you don't just have it all figured out when you're 25. So just bun that, right? Just forget that, because that's only gonna hold you back, because believe me, it held me back. I'm not saying it's complete bollocks, but it's not something one should think of as a reason for anything happening. Anyway, just wanted to give my 2 cents on that. So after that ended, I'd stopped doing everything apart from playing piano, because it was the only thing I could do at that time that would mean I could also be available for this horrible devil. Because if I wasn't available, all hell would break loose. I mean, seriously, it was bad. But luckily, thanks to the help of my family and the police, that ended. That was a good feeling. Jesus, I felt like anything was possible after that. The one thing that stuck around through all that was playing piano. And at this point, I wasn't sure what I was going to do. I still thought I could try and be a filmmaker or a motion graphics artist, but my vision of what I actually wanted to do was totally TV static. It was nothing. There was nothing. I couldn't think of like a single thing that I was going to do. All the ideas and clear visions I had when I was younger and even into my early 20s just vanished. And I really had no idea what I wanted to do or what I wanted to be. All I really had were my cats and piano. And sadly, at that time, I lost one of my cats, Merle, who I still miss very dearly to this day. But I really pushed the piano. I really started recording a lot more. I would record like a new song just from a random idea, at least once a week, sometimes 3 or 4 times a week. And I thought, if I'm doing fuck all else, I can at least be with my piano and write music that really expresses how I feel without any words or without any complications, and maybe someone else out there could feel the same way. And I also thought, shit, I'm 26 now, 30's coming up. Where's the mansion? Where's the £1 million? Where's everything sorted, right? I've got 4 years. Gotta fucking hurry up. At 30, as I've seen online and what people are telling me, your life's over, your life's done, you gotta have something sorted, right? Just want to say that could not be further from the truth. It's a complete lie. Don't listen to it, I promise you. But I really started pushing my piano. Yeah, it was a very special part of my life. I ended up meeting an extraordinary girl, really wonderful, incredibly supportive, and I released a lot more music. And not only that, I also put myself back online, because at the time with the horrible person, I didn't share my work anywhere. I didn't want to, and even to some extent now I still don't really want to, but I really didn't. I didn't want to put anything anywhere. With encouragement, I was able to get myself back into sharing my work with the world. Essentially from there, I tried one more thing, and that thing was solace sewing. Now when I was younger, 18, 19, 20, my brother told me, you got to start caring about your appearance, and you got to start building a wardrobe that you can take anything out of and it's going to look good. That was exactly what he said to me. I remember him saying that to me. Thank you very much for saying that, because I would have never have fixed it. But I was very into clothes. It was sort of my first foray into caring about how I looked. I even got braces because of it, so now I can smile properly. Even then, even when I was really young, there were always pieces of clothing that were either too expensive or didn't exist. And I always loved the aesthetic of games like SSX 3, SSX Tricky, Skate 3, and the world of aggressive rollerblading. Just that entire aesthetic. And I could never really find anything that blended that aesthetic, but with much cleaner and practical designs. So I told myself when I was 20, I was going to start sewing. 7 years later, 7 years later, that's how long it took me to take the sewing machine that was on the floor of my parents' bedroom for 7 years, didn't move, bring it downstairs, plug it in, and learn how to thread it. That is how long it took me to do it, because I just couldn't be bothered. I used a video from Tok Custom, fantastic geezer. If you want to learn how to sew, I highly recommend his beginner tutorials. And I did my first ever stitches. And when that happened, when I connected 2 bits of fabric together, not to sound like a dramatic, cheesy idiot, but when I connected them together, I thought, this could be something. Maybe this is what I was meant to do. Just maybe. And from that point onwards, this is before I was putting anything online, I was just teaching myself to sew, learning about fabrics, learning about needles and threads and pattern cutting and pattern designing, everything I was doing myself and teaching myself. And I was so lucky I had the time to do it. I was so lucky, because I know a lot of people don't have the time to do these things, but I just really wanted to make the most of the time I knew I had. So I made a lot of clothes. Not all the time, I was still quite lazy about it because it's quite a time-consuming process. Then I decided, you know what, I haven't used my camera for a long time. I literally blew the dust off my camera and started filming myself on my camera, not just my phone, on my camera, filming myself making clothes, because I always wanted to know how clothes are made. And once you know how clothes are made, suddenly it doesn't feel like this super special elitist thing. Suddenly it becomes very possible. I mean, I'm wearing my own t-shirt right now. There's not a better feeling than wearing what you've made. It's really special. I felt like this could be something. This could move me in the right direction. This could really take me somewhere. So basically, that was it. At that point, I started teaching myself to sew and playing piano. Those were the two main things. And I was certain that I was going to, in the future, start my own handmade clothing brand and try and build a world based around all the things I love. Trying to make it cute but cool. That's the whole idea. After a lot of sketches of logos and name ideas, which I'm still not sure about the name I'm still not sure about, I finally came up with Rory at roryhq.com with my little man mascot, along with my owl Blob, who's for me. So music, clothes, that's kind of the idea I'm trying to build. It's all still very abstract, but I taught myself, I don't know if I'm rambling here, but I taught myself how to use Shopify, and I did a lot of photo shoots with friends of mine, which was difficult because I still feel terrible asking for help. But it was all on this pressure before I turned 30. I just wanted something to happen. This is where it gets relevant. Before I turned 30, when I was about 25, I told myself the one thing I want to do as soon as I possibly can, and to just know that I've done, I want to do my own piano show. That was like number one. That was the number one goal. Even if it was to one person, I just wanted to find a venue, organize it, do the graphics for it, deal with the nerves, and just do it and make people happy. That's like all I wanted to do. And with a lot of determination, I did my first ever live piano show just after meeting Rodney Mullen. Beautiful. Yeah, very special moment. I was still very unsure with what I wanted to do with my life, but I just knew this was one thing I wanted to do before I was 30. Again, giving myself that deadline. I don't know why we do it, but everything was just changing so much. I didn't know what I was doing. And then, after trying to build this clothing brand, which I'd not released yet, I turned 30. It happened. I was so sure that even like the days leading up to it, I was so sure that, bang, I was going to turn 30, everything would be sorted. I would have something figured out. I'd be more confident. I would, fucking the Queen, or I guess the King, was going to give me £10 million in a briefcase. Congratulations, this is what it was all for, right? No. I still felt like I was 18. And I'm sure a lot of people still do. One of the most significant things that happened just before I turned 30, my wonderful kitty cat passed away in my arms, and I had him for 15 years. And he was a big inspiration to all the music I made because he was always there, he was always with me, as well as Merle while he was still with me. He started to get sick very randomly. Just a random dental appointment turned into a cancer diagnosis. And it was on May the 31st last year, just before my birthday, he passed away. And it was awful. It really is something I still am struggling to deal with. The house no longer feels like a home, it just feels like a sort of place I need to be. But he really inspired me, and it was because of him I wrote an album while he was still with me. I wrote as many songs as I could so I could release something that not only marked my 30th birthday but also remembered his wonderful life. So not only was I dealing with the pressures of turning 30, but also that was quite a massive deal at the same time. But I am glad I pushed myself to do that and create something to mark both occasions, even though turning 30 really isn't that big of a deal. It was just a very significant event, and it really reminded me, bloody hell, life is just fragile. It's so fragile. It's so fleeting. We really have to do as much as we can. Make the most of it. Yeah, I miss him a lot. It was the last connection I really had to my childhood, and it was just really sad that was the last part of my life to go before I turned 30. It really separated those two parts of my life quite significantly. Another thing is that I was very disappointed because I didn't launch my clothing before I was 30. I thought, I gotta get it out there, gotta get it on people's screens, I gotta get people seeing it. I can't let people know I've waited until, it's all this self-doubt and silly thinking. But then I turned 30 and I realised nothing's different. And then about 6 months later, I launched it, and nothing really worked. I kind of just I didn't half-ass it, but I kind of forced a lot of things together to make it work. Did all the photos myself and made the video myself. I learned how to use Ableton to make this breakcore track that was inspired a lot by a lot of the old video game soundtracks and my friend Max. It was an interesting moment because I realised that life just carries on. And that's basically everything I've tried to do up until now. I even, as a little practice, I made these little Velcro straps for aggressive skates that kind of taught me how to use Shopify and how to create physical goods and run a business and whatever the fuck else. But I guess my point is that even now I still don't know what the hell I'm going to do. Nothing's worked out. It's all still in process. By the way, if you're interested in seeing any of the stuff that I make or do, I make a lot of videos of my clothes and my piano and whatever else on this YouTube account, but also on my Instagram at Tobex. I share a lot more frequently. I share a lot of videos of me actually making the clothes and the clothes that I sell as well on my website, Rory HQ. And I share a lot more of my music and a lot of the photos I take, and just trying to build this world that I'm trying to create and trying to share with everyone. All the links will be below. I'd love for everyone to have a look and see what you think. Right, that was a mouthful. I guess the reason why I explained all of that is because even now, I still have no idea what I'm gonna do. And I don't really know what I'm doing. I have not figured anything out. I'm not trying to say, look at me, I've done so much, I'm so amazing. Not at all. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. And nothing really led into anything concrete. But I know I'm not the only person that's feeling like that. Nothing is linear. You never know what's gonna happen. And that's kind of what makes everything so beautiful. You take the first step to try something and then just see where it goes. One of the things I always tell myself, and sometimes I tell other people if I'm feeling a bit philosophical, apologies if you ever have to deal with me like that, fucking hell. You're always gonna be you. I did this a lot when I was a kid. I would see people who were older than me and I would think, I'm gonna look like that when I'm older. And I'm not saying like that's what I aspire to be. I thought, yeah, that's just how it's going to be. I'm going to be that guy when I'm older. You're not. You're going to be you. You're going to have the same brain you have. And for better or worse, you're going to learn how to deal with the problems that you face. And I don't want that to sound like a terrible thing, because you are unique. You are incredibly special. No one else on the planet is like you. Nobody looks like you, nobody acts like you, nobody thinks like you. You do have your own very unique way of looking at the world, and you can't replace that, and you can't try and... What am I trying to say here, man? I just think you're not going to wake up and be someone different. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean that in a good way. You can build yourself. You can change your mindset. You can, if you're lucky enough, you can start over. I know it's easier said than done. I think if I had a dream right now, or at least a goal or something that I would think, okay, now I'm almost 31, what is actually something concrete that I want to achieve instead of flip-flapping around? I've been telling myself this for a while now, but I want to be able to play small little intimate piano shows all over the world to little audiences that I can really kind of get personal with and talk to and know more about. That's my dream. And after seeing so many concerts, I really think that's what I want to do. And I never in a billion years thought I'd want to be doing this when I was yo-yoing or even being a filmmaker. Never in a billion years. I hate being in front of the camera, But I wanna try and explain this, because I know other people think like this. I know I'm not the only one. I think it's not about the goal, because whenever I've reached a goal or an achievement in my life in the past, I immediately just want to move on to the next thing, because I've done that. Okay, that's done. What's next? I can't just stop. And I'm not trying to be, oh, I have so much passion and drive. Achievements mean nothing to me. They're bloody important to me. I'm an incredibly sentimental motherfucker. They're very special to me. It's always changing. You can't just achieve something and that's it, you're done. You can't just make a film or get a job, or, I mean, I don't know what it's like, but you can't just buy a house or whatever and that's it. Job done. You know, full stop on the life. You don't have to do anything else forever, right? You're not just going to sit on your sofa and watch Northern Line for the rest of your life. Just know that it's not going to be straightforward, at least in my experience. You don't know where you're going to go, you don't know who you're going to meet, and you don't know what's going to happen. Now, in saying all of this, I probably sound like I'm trying to express that I know what I'm talking about. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm an incredibly insecure guy. Even now, I'm still very insecure about what I'm doing or what I say. In fact, just setting all this shit up and filming myself talking about quite an abstract thing, I feel quite weird doing it. But it's something I wish I heard when I was younger. Maybe no one's going to watch this video, maybe 5 people will watch it, but I really don't think that you need to put yourself under so much pressure just because of your age. Whether you be stressed about turning 18, whether you're stressed about turning 40 or 50, whether you're stressed about turning 21, whatever the fuck. As long as you keep trying, you're always gonna be in your prime. You're always gonna be able to do things. You can't just give up because you're a certain age. You're always gonna be you. I honestly think one of the most important things I'm trying to say with this whole video, God knows how long it is now, is that there is this idea that I shouldn't even bother trying because it's not going to happen. Oh, I shouldn't even try and make this film because it's just going to be crap. So I'm safe in not trying it, because if I did try it, it would have been a waste of time anyway. So it's actually a good thing that I'm not even bothering to do whatever it is you really want to do. Very, very, very rarely is that the case. It's just a really easy way out. It's a really easy way out of doing what's going to be difficult and what's going to really change and fulfill your life. You can't just not do something just because you are telling yourself it's going to never work, and then that makes you feel okay about it because it would have been a waste of time anyway. There are a lot of things in my life that have not happened. So many things. So many regrets I have because I just forced myself to believe that it was never going to work out, that it was never going to happen. And that made me pretend to feel fine about it because I was making the right decision, because I was removing any decision in the first place. Just mentally removing it. It was still there, definitely should have still happened, but it was such an easy way out. It was such an easy way out of doing what I needed and wanted to do. And honestly, those are the moments in my life that I have the most regret. Those are the moments that genuinely keep me up at night and really make me wish I could go back in time and change them and just do something about them. You can't let it win. You can't let yourself think like that, because it's the easy way out. It's too safe and nothing's going to happen if you start thinking like that. Don't end up like me, please. And I still do it. I still find myself doing it. I still find myself giving myself that excuse to not do something because it's not going to happen, or because somebody else might not like it, or because it might be a bit cringe or a bit awkward, and oh, it'd be better if I just don't even try. Something could be incredibly minor, or it could be something life-changing. Like, you can feel it in your chest, you can feel your heart beating, you can feel yourself wanting to do something, needing to do something, but you're overpowered by your head telling you it's not even worth it, it's never going to happen, and you're trying to force yourself to feel okay because that's the outcome. Don't let that happen. You just have to do it. You have to try, even if it's going to be cringe and embarrassing. You will always learn more from doing it than you will regretting it or regretting not doing it. Don't pick the easy way out. Just try it. Just go for it. You can't let your fear take over. You can't let other people control what you genuinely feel you need or want to do in your life. I've said this a billion times before. You are the most important person in your life. Turning 30 is not a death sentence. It's just another day, and it's nice to celebrate how far you've come, but don't let that be the deadline for everything you've ever wanted to do. And I know that if you're watching this and you're listening to me talking, you're not the kind of person who's just going to sit around and do nothing. And I think that's an amazing thing. You really can do this. Don't take the easy way out. I don't even know who you are, but I do believe in you. It's something I think about a lot, and it would be so great if I could just take my own advice sometimes, but it's difficult. None of us are right all the time. Now, one of the things I've not spoken about much is comparing yourself to other people, and I think the whole thing about this turning 30 idea is the constant comparison you see online or with people in your life. Believe me, at this point in my life, I'm seeing people getting married, people having families, people buying houses, people having very high paying jobs, people doing all this incredible stuff, right? It's so hard to not compare, and I'm comparing myself all the fucking time. But you can't compare. Everybody is different. Everyone's in different circumstances. Everyone has different abilities to do things. You can't let that be an excuse. You can't just take the piss and be lazy and do nothing. I mean, you can if you want. Fuck it. What am I to tell you? But it's also, you can't just see that and just give up and think, oh, I'm never going to be anything. The whole world is stacked against me. Gen Z is screwed. You're not a statistic. You're not a number. You are a person that can do things. You can't watch a video or see someone saying everything's fucked and just think, okay, everything's fucked. I guess there's nothing I can do, because that's not how it works. You will never do anything if you think like that. You're not a number. You're so much better than that. You are so much better than that. You can't just see what YouTube video essays are telling you and just think that's it, game over. It's so unhealthy, and I see it all the time, everywhere, even with people I know. On any platform in real life, there's just this idea that, oh, we're all fucked, so I guess there's nothing we can do. You can still do things, you can still try, and I know for some people you can't. I know for some people physically and mentally you're unable to, and I'm not trying to say that's not an issue. I know it's a serious issue, especially if you live in a much more deprived part of the world, or you have a horrible family, or you have literally no money, or you're working all the time. I'm aware that those are real issues, and I don't want to come across as some overprivileged twat who's telling you what to do. But what I'm trying to say is that you can do it, and you can't compare yourself to other people. You are the most important person in your life. You are. And the second you start comparing yourself, it's a slippery slope. It's game over. You can't do that. Maybe it's helpful to give yourself a bit of motivation. I know that's happened to me before. Sometimes it makes me want to do more because I see other people, especially good friends of mine, making or doing incredible things, and I think I can do that. But some of the time, most of the time, I see it, and not necessarily from my friends, but I see that stuff and I think, why am I even trying? I'm a 30-year-old loser who lives at home fucking doodling little characters and making t-shirts. Like, what the hell am I doing? You can't let that win. You can't, because if you do, you'll never do anything. Whew, God, I fucking went off a bit there, sorry. Let's try and wrap this up, shall we? I can feel my face getting very red, very flush and very puffy while I'm talking about this. I think maybe I'm getting a bit too emotional here. I mean, if you've come this far, then bloody hell, I feel sorry for you. But thank you for watching. Every single person has their own path in life. We can take advice from people, we can look at other people's lives. In some cases we can compare slightly, we can take good parts that we want and leave the bad parts out. We can be inspired, we can learn new things from other people, but every single person is an incredibly complex collection of memories and opinions and upbringings and music taste and jobs and income and cultures and whatever the fuck else. Every single person is different, and there is nobody else in the world like you. And for better or for worse, you're always going to be you. And it's just a constant battle of trying to be the best person you can be. And that doesn't necessarily mean constantly doing amazing things for other people with no regard for your own self. But it also doesn't mean being a completely abusive, horrible, narcissistic, selfish fucking piece of shit that deserves the worst things in life. But unfortunately, you can't avoid those people. They will pop up. You can't control who comes into your life. And in some cases, you can't control who leaves your life. So much can happen. You can meet so many interesting people. For all the terrible arseholes you meet in your life, you meet Rodney Mullen, who completely changes the way you think about the world. And turning 30 doesn't mean it automatically is fine. You don't automatically have it all figured out. Everyone is at different stages. Everyone has different setbacks. You can't compare yourself to other people. Don't let growing older stop you from doing anything. If anything, it just turns you into a more well-rounded person who's thought about the world more and seen more of the world in some cases, but experienced more things. It's okay to ask people for help. It's very hypocritical me saying that because I really don't like doing it. But we're all alone in this together. And you are important and you are special. But let me tell you, turning 30, you're still you. For better or for worse, you're still you. And I think that's the beautiful part about it. But let me tell you, if you're you with a Higby 888, maybe you do have it all figured out, you know? Maybe life's alright. This video is going to be really weird and it's going to be very hard to edit. I don't know what I've been talking about this whole time. Thank you for watching. Yeah, stick around for more.